Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 30 March 2021. Coming to you tonight with a From the Sharpening Bench knife review on this relatively new offering from the Benchmade Knife Company, Oregon City, Oregon. This is the Benchmade 273GY-1 Mini Adamas. First production offering from Benchmade and designer Shane Sibbert. This is a knife that I'm not going to say is a solution in search of a problem, as with a couple other mini variants I've seen in the last year or so. This is the shrunken version of the vaunted, venerable, wicked, heavy-duty soldier blade, the 275 Adamas, which is a magnificent piece of work. But frankly, for most of us who don't make our living killing people, just too doggone big to carry every day. For years I have yearned for a smaller version of the Adamas, and man did Benchmade deliver. First, let's talk dimensions. So the original Adamas had a blade 3.82 inches in length. This one shrunk down to 3 1/4. The old blade stock on the original was 160 thousandths. We're a little more svelte at 140 on the mini. Handle length on the original knife was 4 7/8. This one 4 3/8. And then the girth of the handle on the original knife was 730 thousandths, almost 3/4 of an inch. This one about 100 thousandths thinner at 5/8 of an inch, or about 625 thousandths. Still got the heavy-duty hardware, the big axis bar, the big stop pin, the big pivot. Still have rather thick Parkerized stainless steel liners that have some big old holes milled in them for lightening. I think the big story is the weight. The original large 275 Adamas weighed in at a husky 7.7 ounces, almost half a pound. The mini, 4.6. Still have lots of Coke bottle going on, a little bit of a palm swell in the middle of that handle. And one thing I noticed, and it's really hard for me to tell since I don't have my full size anymore, but it really appears to me that the chamfering on the edges of the handle scales on the mini are a little broader, affording a little more comfort in hand. The corners of the original, I think, were a little more square with less chamfer. So I like this. The G10 is black, and it's got some milling going on and a nice satin finish. Pocket clip is deep carry Parkerized, reversible, left or right hand tip up. Mechanism, axis lock, of course. Now the finish on the blade, Benchmade is calling tungsten gray Cerakote. And frankly, I didn't know what it was when I started cleaning this knife up after I sharpened it. I noticed, and if you look down there at the lock ramp on the blade tang, there is definitely a copper plate substrate that shows up on that ramp. So underneath that Cerakote, a copper plate substrate for adhesion, I am sure. And guys, if you notice the margin of my sharpened edge, you don't see any feathering in that Cerakote, and I've noticed that to be rather typical. You know, even after stropping, that coating just holds on. The margin is crisp. Unlike DLC from Spyderco Cold Steel, you know, it's very durable stuff. And man, that tungsten gray, doesn't that pop? And if you look in front of the large Adamas style thumb stud, it looks to me like that blade steel is CPM-CruWear from Crucible. Hey guys, If you've never experienced a CruWear knife, you need to. I'm just saying. So here's the book on CruWear. It's got some tungsten, it's got some vanadium, got a bunch of molybdenum, and how it performs properly heat treated. And Benchmade says they've heat treated this chunk of CruWear to 63 to 65 Rockwell. But what you can expect from CruWear performance-wise is wear resistance approaching that of CPM-M4, and toughness approaching 3V. So it's kind of magical. It's extremely tough for its hardness. It is very wear resistant for its toughness, and wait, there's more. It's pretty easy to sharpen. Even at 63 to 65 Rockwell, I think it sharpens about like a well heat treated D2. Far easier to sharpen than M4 or S90V or Rex 45 or K390, and it likes to take a high polish, and it doesn't need a micro bevel. This one is sharpened at 18 degrees per side to 2300 on diamond stone, and then strapped to half a micron. And here's another thing I think is noteworthy. This is why I like to do from the sharpening bench videos, because a lot is revealed about the grinding prowess of a knife manufacturer after you sharpen a blade at a consistent angle, because the width of that sharpened bevel reveals how precise the maker was at giving you uniform thickness behind the edge. And if you look at that edge, it's pretty much the same tip to hilt. That tells me that the taper of the bevel grind top to bottom and the distal taper and the belly designed into the blade all meet perfectly to give you a nice uniform thickness behind the edge. The factory edge on this knife was pretty good. It was probably at about 20 degrees per side. One area that, and you guys, this is a small thing, but right at the base of the edge, you know, whoever did the freehand belt sander sharpening on this got just a little deep. So you're going to see it kind of curve up this way, which frankly I would rather see that than recurve. And something that you're going to notice in this knife that's different from the original Adamas is how the Ricasso area is executed, the Ricasso and the choil. Notice how all the Ricasso is inside the handle. Plunge grind starts immediately right at the front of the handle, and instead of having that full thickness Ricasso and then a sharpening choil, in the interest of maximizing cutting edge, we've gone with a short sharpening choil, all the full thickness stock inside the handle, so the cutting edge starts less than a quarter inch from the front of the handle. And you're probably already noticing this, I did not have to extend that choil in order for the plunge grind to be cleared by the choil, so we don't get any wonky thickening of the blade right at the base of the edge. Great job, Benchmade. Great job. You've got that sort of trademark Adamas fuller that also runs all the way back to the handle. Beautiful thumb ramp with more than adequate jimping that carries back a la Benchmade into the liners and the scales. We'll talk about ergonomics here, and a lot of times, guys, when a manufacturer shrinks a blade, scales down a package to fill a marketing niche, the ergonomics of the handle get completely destroyed. Not the case here. Watch this. I'll do this in the right hand because the clip is mounted for the right hand. Saber grip. All four fingers comfortably between the guard and the horn, right? Thumb naturally lies right where it needs to, given the positioning of the thumb ramp and the jimping. In the hammer grip, again, all four fingers where they need to be. In the draw cut grip, clip gets a little problematic in the draw cut grip, but not terrible. And then in that sort of vertical draw cut, the horn is going to get you in the palm a little bit, but not bad. And then in the overhand pinch grip, absolute money. Let me do that in my left hand because it's a little more, oh yeah, beautiful. Everything lies just perfectly. And then, it is a tactical knife. So we got to look at the reverse grip. Again, jimping carried into the pommel area of the knife to index the thumb. And just the right size to do that, right? It's just great. So you got a 3 1/4 inch blade in a 4.6 ounce knife. It kind of begs the question, doesn't it? What's going to be the intended use of this knife? Why would you want to buy it, right? Well, I think, given what I know about the 275 Adamas and its appeal to soldiers and tactical operators, many of whom are my sharpening customers, they're going to love this blade. I have a lot of guys, especially in the British military, who carry full-size Adamases, specifically auto Adamases, and I think they're going to dig this knife because let's face it, when you're humping gear for a living and your life depends on your conditioning and your freshness, every ounce helps. And this is 3.1 ounces lighter than a 275. And still extremely robust. A little bit of thickness trimmed off blade and handle, but not much. Still going to be an extremely strong knife. And look at the size of that stop pin, guys. So going to be a plenty capable tactical blade. And then what about for the rest of us? I see this knife kind of as a, I don't know, it could take the place in the pocket of a cold steel American lawman, albeit at a little bit of a higher price, but some of us just don't care, do we? And by the way, MAP pricing on this knife, $212.50 at your favorite web retailer. So a little more than a standard fare 275 was, but not much more. And frankly, at least as a matter of market perception, CruWear is going to be a lot more attractive steel than D2. And I think that gray tungsten Cerakote is going to sell some knives too. So how'd we do on putting this knife together? Fit, finish, centering. Well, there's your free drop in action. And I got nil for blade play. And centering is dead down the middle. Of course, phosphor bronze washers, big phosphor bronze washers. How does CruWear sharpen? Pretty well. Remember, kind of a fat blade, 140 thousandths with a not so high saber grind. So geometry is not particularly slicey. But the edge is. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. So if I had to sum this up in one word or two, let's not think too hard, guys. Home run. Home run for Benchmade. I mean, gee, man, you look at that, would ya? Stunning. Yes, it's a brute. Yes, it is capable. Yes, it is extremely well made. Yes, it's made of premium materials, and it's gorgeous in a brutish sort of way. Great job, Shane. Great job, Benchmade. Oh man, I might have to have one of these. You know, it's not a sub 3 ounce 940. It's not a sub 2 ounce bug out. It does have a shorter blade than a 940. But, you know, it's going to take up a little pocket, 5/8 thick. But in this dimension, well, let's look here. That's a pair of 3. Obviously, thickness-wise, we're going to take up a little more pocket. But in that front to back dimension, I think that knife will carry well. I do. I do. I really do. I think I need to have one. This one, however, will be on its way home tomorrow to my sharpening customer, Yoss. Hope you're watching, buddy. Your knife is now a YouTube star. I think that's all for this one. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Remember, the Word and Yoss's mini Adamas are sharp. Talk to you soon.